Alright guys, so here we go. I got this fine young gentleman here. I'm gonna be doing a one blade fade with a comb over or a hard part. Pretty simple. Went ahead and got my number one blade and just taking it up right there by the temple there. Not going too high, not gonna run this all the way up, but just below the crown there, maybe about a half inch or so below the crown. Just getting it in there using the BGRs. This is the wired rather. And you know, when it comes to wireless and like wired, I would say wireless is the best option. These wires, man, they just get in the way, and they are very annoying. Always stepping on them and just so annoying. But getting it in there. This client was he liked to move a lot. You know, for an older kid, I don't know if he took some caffeine or drank a soda pop or something. I don't know, but he was pretty active with his eyes and just moving around. And I don't know, maybe he just had a burst of energy, something. Maybe some energy drink. I don't know. Maybe he had some Mr. Hyde supplement. I don't know. But yeah, what I'm doing here is just doing half of it, guys. That way I can get it in and show you folks what I'm doing here, dusting them off. I always try to be conscious of getting the client, making sure they're clean and comfortable, and getting the hair out their face. You know, we work in a service providing field where we provide the service and make sure that they're taken care of, and you know, every little detail counts. Everything they remember. You know, the first impression is a lasting impression, and you know, everything from the sounds to the smells, even to the way you smell. Believe it or not, you know, these people have noses and they will smell you, and you know, you know, whether your own breath smells, or you know, dealing with their breath as well. So be conscious of your hygiene. Very important. And jump right to the 1.5 here, taking it up maybe about just a little bit, maybe half an inch or something like that. Not too high. Then after this, I come in with the number 2. Between the 1 blade and the 1.5, there is definitely a line that is left, and you can definitely tell by looking at it right now. Sometimes it can blend easy. It depends on the hair texture and how good it blends, and how well the hair blends. So it all depends. Some hair is easier to fade than others, depending on the density, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, got the 1.5, and I believe I'm grabbing the number 2, or the 1A actually. About this 1A, man, if you are using blades, you need to get this 1A, and you're doing tight fade. You can tell it took that line like literally right out, and like magic, really. It's like not even there, you know. It's like, wow, what a miracle. So yeah, got the 1A in there, took care of that line, made it real simple. Now I got the number 2 there. You can tell this guy was just moving around. I don't know, I just had like to force his head around, and it was kind of hard because I was just really having a hard time with him, and you know, with the camera and everything. And I was telling myself maybe I should just wait for a client that I know, you know, and that will stay still. But I just went ahead and wanted to get this out there. Sorry about if I'm in the way, guys. It's kind of my first time trying to find this angle here. It was like the best angle that I could find, and I wanted to get some how-to videos in here. But yeah, just make sure you're certain of where you're going with the clipper there. Be intentional of what you're doing, what kind of blend you're gonna give. Lately I've been thinking about the difference between traditional blends and the modern blend. The modern blend is just like straight up to the crown, and no not a lot of softness, if you will, or hair that will come down, the classic look, if you will. I'm a big fan of that. I like the wedge. Basically, there's more of a wedge with the traditional look. I got my clipper over comb using the wireless magic clips here. I don't know, for some reason I just this is what I turned to for the clipper over comb action. I'm always grabbing these bad boys. Gets me away from the wires. Makes it easy. Just getting it in there, getting a nice wedge in there, nice blend. You know, sometimes it could be hard too, especially when, you know, kids or just people in general, their foreheads, man, like they're either so small, like, and like, there's so much hair in the front, and you just almost don't know where to go with the blend. It could be really difficult, especially when you're trying to line them up and square off the forehead. It could be pretty difficult too. Some people come in and they have literally no forehead. They're just hair all over their head, and as you can see here, I was already creating my guideline. Taking my time using the T, not the T outliners, but the wall detailers. Actually, I haven't used the Andy's T outliners in a long time. The grenades, as they're known. Just getting that nice little C shape in there best as I can. I'm gonna keep it natural. You know, sometimes I can get carried away, you know, like just making it so super crispy and like, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, depending on the client and what they like, and I guess what you're feeling like as well. You may get re-detailed in it, you may not. You may just keep it more natural, and maybe keeping it more natural is just the best way to approach a haircut. You don't want to look too unnatural, because it doesn't look natural. You know, when it grows out, it looks weird, and you know, if you're going too far, if you're pushing the lining back or whatever, it's just not going to look good when it grows out. So I lined up the side here, taper off his neck, and we'll be showing that in a few moments here. Getting behind the ears, making sure it's all clean. Excuse me. But see, the cool thing about like kids, man, like they have so much hair. Like it's like, man, you could just really create some things with their hair. Just, you know, like especially to look really, really detailed. Sorry about my arm. It's just in the way. I tried like to be out of the way, but I wasn't. So I just basically gave myself a guideline for this side. Such a big difference between both sides. You know, there's a difference. You know, a lot of barbers, there's some barbers who don't give linings and who don't, you know, do all these detailed work. And, you know, they keep it simple. They give like gentleman's cuts and, you know, just clip over comb cuts, soft on the sides, nothing too sharp. Depending on the client, depending on the area, you know, people may want it, some people may not want it. So keep that in mind. You know, I always try to read the client, you know, as I see them and watch them, talk to them and see what kind of lifestyle that they live. You know, if they seem more urban, they seem like they're more from, I guess, the streets, if you will. You know, usually the cases they're gonna want some, you know, hard linings and things like that. Right here, I'm jumping into the part here, the hard part. Some people call it the comb over. The comb over is like actually known to be when you're covering up, you know, thinning area or a balding spot. Actually, that's a comb over. This would be a hard part if you like want to be technical, I guess. But at this barber shop where I'm working at, a lot of people, they just call it the comb over, and a lot of the clients do as well. So just getting in there, lining it up, setting my guideline so when I come with the blade, I know where I'm going here, and doing the opposite side. Definitely want to do both sides and make sure that it is nice and crispy as possible, but be very careful, man. With this part, you could make it too big or it could be too small or whatever, but you know, with time, if you're brand new to this, it just takes time. You got to give yourself time, and you know, the owner knows it. Don't be nervous. Take a deep breath and just learn. So moving on here to the back here, the taper, balding up the taper. Again, excuse for any annoying, just me getting in the way. Sorry about that. Lining him up, making sure he's nice and Rice Krispies here. Bada bing, bada boom. Clean them up really good. Make sure that you clean up these clients, guys. Make sure that they are clean and ready to go. You know, that extra detail work that you think like, oh, it's not really a big deal. But, you know, behind the ears or even down the neck there. Get that. People notice that. People, not only does the person that you're cutting see what you're doing or notice what you're doing while you're doing it, and later on when they check out the haircut at home or even in their car when they leave, people that see the haircut, they know how clean or what these people look like before and how hairy they were, and they notice like the details. People look at the details, they really do. So taking it up just a little bit here with the the trimmers or the liners, going back at it at the side there. Another tip is like, just make sure your feet are planted comfortably. I always try to be conscious of my feet and my positioning and not being uncomfortable when moving my body in just weird positions. But jumping into the box shaver, man, this thing was so hard. When I first learned this thing, it was so difficult. Man, I had such a hard time with it, pleating lines and everything. But the thing is, I left like my own strategy and like started picking up other people's and watching people. You just kind of stick with what works best for you, because you never know what you never know. Everyone just got a different way of doing things. A million ways to shave a cat, if you will, or a sheep. I don't know, a dog maybe. But yeah, be gentle with that box shaver. Don't go so hard. Came back and took it up a little higher here, right above where I use a box shaver. The box shaver, again, as you may have seen, I was tapping it, and that's what I do when I get close to the guideline there. I I start tapping it, and you start to learn that box shaver and what works, what doesn't work. Make sure it's charged. When it starts to lose power, you notice that it doesn't cut as good. But it's like a miracle box, man. It works really well. Here with the Masters, open, I believe, or half open. Going back and forth with the notches here. You just gotta get comfortable with your tools and what they do, how they do it. Excuse me, when they're lubricated, when they're not lubricated, how they work. Cutting hair, really everything is like playing it by ear. From listening to the client to listening to the way your tools work and the blends, and kind of playing it really by ear, because it's just it takes like I said, it takes practice, it takes repetition, getting that blend out. But yeah, just back with the box shaver, man, yeah, just take your time with that. If you're not getting it, take your time, and just do the tapers first, do the back of the neck where it's not so visible. Like if you do make a big mistake, practice some people, and practice with it, even if just practice with it any way you can, and learn that thing, learn the different foils and how they cut from the wall to the andis. It really there's a difference there, so pay attention to all that. Make sure it's charged. See, as you can tell, this guy was starting to slouch. I think my chair is kind of slippery, but yeah, you see he moved right away. So looks like we're done with the taper, guys. And I'll definitely show you guys a picture at the end here. I'm not claiming to be some superstar barber, but I can definitely give you guys some advice, regarding business, the things that I've experienced, customer service, what it takes, to be a barber and be in business. You're always learning something new every day. I'm not saying I know all of it. What I'm saying is I'm here to help, and I'm here to be helped as well, to learn. Moving on. We got the top of the hair here. Just wanted to trim. You know, it's funny. A lot of customers say trim, and it's just like, how much is a trim? You don't know. You know, for the most part, I just take it. You play it by ear again. You look at the customer. You ask them how long it's been. Client consultation, and see, you know, what they've had before. Ask them when their last haircut was again, and again, play it by ear. You kind of tell what the customer goes for. It took maybe about just I don't even know what you would call it. Just enough that it's nice and fresh, but also where it's got some length to it. You kind of just play by ear, and you know, sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. And even if you do ask the client, sometimes they don't know how to explain it. And if you have to, you know, explain it for them, give them an idea. And if you use number 8 on top, you number 6 on top, you know, keep that in mind and tell them, you know, you use this as a number 6. That way, if they come back to you or they go to someone else, they know what they're doing. They know what they want. That's a big thing too, is a client consultation. People get it wrong. People don't communicate, and we're guilty of it too as barbers. You know, on the other end, both ends, we're both guilty, client and barber. Make sure, you know, the best way to do anything is a picture. But also, again, with the picture, it could go a million ways. You know, you could just like, they could show you a picture of a, you know, African American haircut, and they're, you know, white, and they want African American hair or something like that, something crazy. You know, they can't get that. I mean, you know, do some perms or some straightening or something, or, you know, curl up their hair somehow. But yeah, guys, cross-check your work as well, as you may have seen. And what I'm doing here is I'm combing it forward and making sure, even though it's, you know, the comb over, or it's got the hard part at the end, I'm still making sure that he can comb it both ways, that it blends properly either way. I've seen it so many times where people that come in with haircuts, and one side is so much longer than the other. It's like, man, that's not right, you know? It doesn't look right. You can tell, especially if you're a barber. You know, I mean, obviously to the side, I mean, it kind of blends all together, but you want to make sure this is what makes a difference between a good haircut and a great haircut. These small details right here. Fine-tuning your work and making sure you got a masterpiece. The small details. You can comb it to the side, you can put it all together and hide it and try to save you some work, but in the long run, you're really saving yourself a lot of work from, you know, keeping that client. Maybe they notice that. They notice it's uneven when they go home and they style their hair and they touch their hair and they look at the haircut. Freehand cutting with the clipper. You do this, guys. This is like so important. Do this. Use that freehand clipper cutting. It works. Gets all the strays. More. I'm fixing that. I've seen my friend of mine who had this issue, and the guy didn't cut it, and he noticed. He came to me and he got a great haircut. He was getting a good haircut, but then he got a great haircut when he came to me. Why? Because of these small details. They matter. People see that. Even if the client doesn't even notice, other people will see it. Trust me. A friend of mine that saw my friend with his hair that was longer on the top right here in this area, he noticed. He wanted to cut it off bad, and he's not even a barber. But yeah, coming to an end here, guys. This is about it. Lined them up and stuff already with the blade, and cleaned them up with the box shaver. And here is the final product. Enjoy, guys. I hope you enjoyed this small tutorial how to keep it simple, get in there nice and clean. Yeah, thanks, guys. Subscribe, like, give me some feedback. Got some vlogs out there, got some reviews for you guys too, so appreciate it. Be blessed, guys, and thank you for watching.